All right, how you guys doing today? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the research paper. The research paper, and on Canvas, you'll see it under the research paper. It'll be in files, research paper guidelines. But the research paper, I'll put that up there today. The research paper essentially is you're going to be telling me about a current event that is at least national news that has happened in the last 6 months. Basically, anything that's in the news over the last 6 months is pretty much fair game. It's an expository research paper where you're not required to like make a decision or make a judgment call. So let's say you're doing something with like politics or something like that. You don't have to say, this person is, right or this person is wrong. Really, all you really would have to do is present the information. So it should be something that is at least national news in the last 6 months. The first assignment for that is the research question and the subordinate questions. What a research question is a large, all-encompassing question, that really kind of identifies what you're trying to find out with your research. So let's say you're doing let's say, for example, you were doing a research report on the military presence in Afghanistan. That's probably not a good topic. It's not really much in the news the last 6 months. A little bit about it, but not a whole bunch. But let's say, for example, you were doing a research paper on that, and your question was, so what you're trying to find out what your research is. Let's say you're trying to find out why we are still in Afghanistan. Why does the U.S. military still have a presence in Afghanistan, right? Well, a research question could be something like that. Why does America continue to have a military presence in Afghanistan? Well, in order to answer that question, you have to answer a whole lot of other questions, smaller questions. These are the things that I call the subordinate questions. So you might have to answer a question like, why did we go to Afghanistan? How much does it cost us in human lives since we've gotten there? How much does it cost us financially? What are the economic benefits of staying there? What are the economic detriments of withdrawing from Afghanistan? How will our withdrawal affect troops? All these other questions you would have to answer in order to really answer that larger question. So that's really what the research is. Research is a concept or a process of you have a question, you have questions, and you seek the answers to those questions. Often those answers will lead you to more questions. But ultimately, by the time you've asked all these questions, you find out all the answers to these questions, then what you'll have researched your topic. You'll have a pretty broad, hopefully, understanding of your topic. You've asked like 15 or 20 questions about it. You've researched these answers. Then those answers produce more questions. From there, so then essentially what you'll have is the research. So what I want you guys to start doing this week is firstly think of a topic. What are you going to do your research paper on? It should be something that is at least national news that is taken place in the last 6 months. Then I want you guys to develop a research question, which is basically a large, all-encompassing question that really covers what you're trying to find out with your research. After you do that, I want you to come up with subordinate questions, which are basically smaller questions about your topic, and really as many as you can. But I say 15 as a minimum. But really, you want to really raffle off as many questions as you can about your topic. And these will be basically what fuels your research, what you'll go look up the answers to, which will eventually fill out the bulk of your paper. Now, I warn you away from a couple of types of topics. Firstly. It has to be national news in the last 6 months. So nothing that's just local, nothing like, Polk County or Florida news. It's just Florida. It has to be at least, everybody in America has heard about it, or it's been on news, in the news, across America, at least nationally. It could be international, but at least nationally. Secondly, I would avoid the timeless topics. There's a difference between a current event and an event going on currently. And kind of getting them confused could really just cause you to write a paper that is not acceptable. So by current event, I mean something that's new, that's been, discussed in the last 6 months. By an event going on currently, they may be talking about it now, but it's something that's been going on, for a while. So for example, autism research, right? Yes, people currently have autism. There's still current, things about autism. But autism is not necessarily a current event, because people have had autism for generations and a long time. There've been research and talk about it for a long time. So it's not a new topic. It's an old topic that's still going on currently, but it's not a current event. I guess the best example I could give you is that show Teen Mom, right? Teenage pregnancy is not a current event, right? I mean, it happens all the time. It's still happening, and it will happen probably. It happened from the dawn of man. It will happen to the fall of man, right? Or whatever. But it's nothing new for teens to get pregnant, right? But when that show Teen Mom came out, it actually affected teen pregnancy rates. They found that teen pregnancy rates after that show came out actually went down. Well, that would be a researchable topic. That would be actually some new. That would be what I consider a current event. A current event. This show affects these rates, right? So teenage pregnancy is not a current event, but a show coming out and changing the rates of teenage pregnancy and affecting, the history or rate of teenage pregnancy, that would be a current event. So you want to make sure your topic is not one of those timeless topics, like one of those topics that, yes, people have cancer, they have had cancer, they will have cancer, right? People have had cancer forever, or for a long time, right? Now, if they came out with some research or some new treatment or some cure for cancer, that would be a current event. Because again, that's some new, that's a new type of thing. So when I say current event, basically something that's in the news, that's like a new event that's been in the news in the last 6 months. That's what you really want to focus on. You also want to stay away from like biographical topics, right? So even if, let's say, for example, Jeffrey Epstein last year, a lot of people did Jeffrey Epstein, like all of the sexual allegations and plus the suicide or / murder, whatever it was, which is fine. It's fine to do your paper about where the central thing of your paper is about a character or is about a person. But this is not a biography paper. It's not an autobiography paper. It's not a research a person's life paper. This is a current event paper. So if somebody did a Jeffrey Epstein paper last year and it was basically telling me about Jeffrey Epstein, his life, where he came from, all of those things, that paper probably would have failed. It would have just failed. Because again, it's not a biography. Now, a paper about Jeffrey Epstein, about the allegations that are coming out, about the women that are testifying, about the theories about him committing suicide or murder, about all of those things, those are current events. Those are current events. So if that was the focus, even though it's a paper about Jeffrey Epstein, if the focus is on the news, the issue, the event that is surrounding it, that's fine. But you want to stay away from biographies, or I don't want you to just tell me about this person, right? So the research paper is essentially that. We'll be working on it from now through the semester. Our first things are just the research and subordinate questions. Come up with a topic and then come up with the research question, which is a large, all-encompassing question that really is the question of what you're trying to find out with your research, and then come up with 15 smaller subordinate questions about your topic. All right. Ooh, ashy knuckles.